now that you're finished, I'll get Sushant into the debate. And with a brief intervention from my side, Uzmaji, now listen. Now listen to me, Uzmaji. Listen to me. See, listen to me. I ask you this question with all seriousness, And I don't know, Uzmaji, when you were born. You may have been born in the 1930s or 40s or 50s, I presume. But you can ask anybody who was born in the 1970s or later that your history books say, according to your history books, because you're a brainwashed person. You see, you brainwashed your people. According to your history books, you say that you won 1971 war. Do you realize that? According to your history books, you say you won the 1971 war. You said Osama was never in Pakistan. You are such absolute liars. You refused to take your bodies back during Kargil. Your former Federal Minister of Interior refused to accept Kasab's. You refused to accept that Kasab was a Pakistani. You refused to accept Kasab was a Pakistani.
You guys.
No, don't keep saying you guys. When I'm giving you facts, there are no you guys situation out here. The fact is we have a choice now, Sushant, and I think our only choice is a military choice. Our only choice is a military choice. Sushant.
So I have a couple of things. One, I think we need to debunk this nonsense which Ms. Kardar is talking about, freedom in India, freedom. We've seen an example of the freedom in Pakistan. They have a government which had lost the election, which has been planted in office because of the army. We've seen how they passed a constitutional amendment. We've seen that they have an army which is so interested and so invested in conquering the Supreme Court of Pakistan that they have given away large swaths of territory in KP and Balochistan, where militant groups and terrorist groups have set up their own checkposts. They're losing control over large swaths of territory, but they're more interested in occupying the Supreme Court. Which, good for them. I don't have a problem with them. But when she talks about freedom, it's laughable when she talks about freedom, because you have MPs who have been kidnapped and who are forced, who are intimidated, their wives, their children, their houses are raided so that you force them to vote in a particular way. This is freedom as far as this lady is concerned, but she's in power right now, so she can say whatever she wants to say. That is one. Secondly, look, the problem is that with the Pakistanis, they think that, carrying out this kind of a dastardly attack in Jammu and Kashmir is going to stop the progress in Jammu and Kashmir, they have another thought coming. You look at, if anybody's been to Muzaffarabad and has been to Srinagar, and I've had the opportunity of going to both places, Muzaffarabad is a dump, as is Mirpur, right? And if you look at Srinagar, it's better than any city in Pakistan. It is far more vibrant, it's far more lively, and because terrorism has largely been crushed in Kashmir, you have a situation where you now have cricket matches taking place, you have marathons taking place, all kinds of things happening, tourism is happening. So obviously the Pakistanis cannot countenance it. So clearly they are trying to disturb the peace out there. Now, the question then arises, what are we going to do about it? Look, there are a couple of problems out here on our end. One is that, we've had this thing that, okay, fine, some of these terrorists will carry out these operations, we'll finally get to the bottom of it, and they'll be eliminated. And they'll be ruthlessly eliminated, and we've been doing that. Over the last couple of months, there has been a spike, mostly in Jammu, but one or two incidents in the valley as well. And I'm very confident, given the kind of security presence in the valley, the kind of intelligence grid and security grid we have, these guys are going to be caught and they'll be sent to meet that 72 hoors or whatever they are hankering for. So that's going to happen. But I think, Arnab, look, the problem, however, is going to be that if we are talking about a military response, then we need to think through how that military response is going to play itself out.
Correct.
What I mean by that is that, we carried out the surgical strikes, we carried out the Balakot strikes, but we did not make it into a kind of a kind of a policy imperative. It was a one-off kind of a thing. My advocacy is that it needs to be a properly honed strategy on how we are going to hit back, how we are going to retaliate, both overt and covert. That is one part of it. Secondly, and this is the flip argument. And by the flip argument, what I mean is that, look, and where I have a bit of a doubt, we look at what the Israelis are doing. And the Israelis always retaliate, even for the smallest attack, they will retaliate overwhelmingly. But the problem is that they haven't actually been able to solve the problem. So at that level, then one thinks that maybe you have to learn how to live with this problem. That does not mean not hitting back. Certainly you have to hit back. But if you think that hitting back is going to solve the problem...
No, but there's a difference here. You see, Sushant, sorry, because you gave that example. So sorry. We only want to take back what is ours, which is POK. Who the hell wants to take over Rawalpindi? It's that kind of terrain. The question is, do we open up multiple fronts and make this more than a single strike?
Arnab, I agree with you. I don't think we covet any of Pakistani territory. We want what we consider to be an inalienable part of India. So we don't have any other territorial claims. Ideally, we should have had way back in 47 on places like Lahore and others where there was a Hindu majority. But forget about it. That's past history. But our claim on POK is certainly alive. And I agree with you on that particular part. See, but here is the problem. Whenever you wage a conflict, the other side also has a vote. So it's not as though we will carry out doing what we are going to be doing and the other side does not get a vote. Now, if we are prepared to escalate to a point, I don't have a problem with it. But I don't think we can adopt a very cavalier attitude that if we carry out a major action, then there will be nothing happening on their side. They are weak, they are bankrupt, they have huge amounts of problems. And the moment they have to shift troops to their eastern front with India, that means they lose even more control over the western part of
Which
Pakistan,
is exactly what I said, which is what Bishambar Dayal says. So they will become strategically unstable on their western border as well, isn't it, General?
Arnab, I hope you invited me on the show.
I do.
It will weaken their army in their own nation, in their polity. I mean, today the army is having a free run, like Sushant is saying. It's having free run even over the Supreme Court, everywhere. But the army needs to be weakened. And one thing, when I say all out war to means, we go right through the desert, we go right through the sea, we go right through Karachi, we go air.
Exactly.
I'm not even saying that. I'm saying we have a territory, we have a LC, and I'm saying do not go for any strikes and come back and then wait for next 6 months. Please continue a well-planned, well-thought-out, well-planned, I'm saying strategically well-planned. Balance yourself in desert, balance yourself in Punjab, balance yourself in the sea, balance your air defense systems, and then go in the POK. Go fast, have an objective of just 5 kilometers. I'm not saying overrun it. Go the next 5 kilometers. Pakistan does not, to my mind, does not have the wherewithal to withstand a campaign for 2-3 months. Do not go like the Russians did. The Russians also, they do not go all out. They give pauses. They then again escalate. So we'll have to change our strategy and we'll have to strike them. But if you leave them here, if you go one strike, come back, wait again, they're not going to stop because this is being orchestrated by completely ISI. If we think there is any homegrown element in it, if we try to say that this is a dissension of some political group in India, no, this is purely ISI. And they're doing it, that timing-wise, they're doing it now to say that it is a disturbed area, that people run away from there, that our investors run away. We are on a mission to develop J&K as good as any other part of the world and develop India. India is developing. I'm also not saying that go for a war which impedes your economy. And ultimately, the Israel economy will also suffer after this war. And there are no Americans with us, but to help us economically. We need to strategize our own strategy on our own terms, on our own timings, and strike them hard. It will not hurt Pakistan by killing any amount of civilians, by killing any amount of terrorists. It will hurt when you hurt their command centers, when you start eliminating Pakistani top echelons, their brigade headquarters, their div headquarters along the LC, their headquarters there.